Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Damn.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
Every day she scribbles a punchline with a pen, jokerism in a journal. You're not hired, can't you comprehend? The blank page, no one paid for it, taunting her ambition. Obsessed with the hales, but can't write a single composition. Stay tuned. Excuse me, my camera works just fine. Reporting from turtle purgatory. Hey, wait, what's my line? Riding the rails of justice. She's reporting from the fringes. Did you read a request? Even the mayor cringes. It's journalist, live from Make It Count. Wait, stop making money, making that's harassment with a bounty. I got a rock eater in attorney. You better stop, cease and desist. Broadcasting live from Facebook. 3 likes, you can't resist.
Man, how's it going, folks, today? Welcome to an interesting edition of, man, there is a lot going on. There are items, of course. We have the Clayton Echard craziness that is moving toward the 10th. It is moving high speed toward the 10th. We have Kanye West being sued because, amongst other things, he said that his, how do I put this? I don't even know. Yeah, if you like this, let's put it this way. If you enjoy today, consider backing, because I have this sneaking suspicion that talking about that case is going to be not very friendly. He's been talking about. He said that his, let's say his little man was racist. So he was going to watch some big booty white women's, and that was going to teach his little man not to be racist anymore. He sent texts allegedly like that and much more to his former assistant, and yeah, she's suing him, and now he's responded. They're suing back. It's turned into quite the shit show. That'll be an interesting read today. And there's another lawsuit we haven't even gotten to. Plus, we have some jokelism fun. Apparently, Jokelist will be doing a live stream with someone else. This week. Oh, this week may turn out to be really, really funny. I have no idea, but it just, it looks like it is going to be something else, man. What's up, Fallen Hero, by the way? Thank you for that gifted membership. Appreciate that. I mean, the Echard thing has been so crazy. You know, I was looking over Gingris's last statements that he has put out, and some of those are just off the wall. You know, we've discussed that a little bit. Wow, it's amazing. Hey, what's up, Scott? Thank you for the 10 there to get you started. Appreciate that for sure. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's wild. I mean, you know, these cases, you're just talking about what if the media talks about these, they don't have any problems. But if one of us picks up a mic and talks about it, yeah, we get some flack. Oh, yeah, and the Marilyn Manson thing. Now, the Marilyn Manson thing is actually quite the bombshell, I think. I want you to check this out. I thought this was quite something, so I wanted to hit this. This came up from the Manson cases, and you should definitely follow the Manson cases. Like, they keep you apprised of pretty much anything that's going on in any of the litigation that involves Marilyn Manson, anything whatsoever. And they can answer pretty much any question. Like, I could just randomly throw them out a question there. But what I thought that this was something else. You know, Rose McGowan has been in an interesting position because she is one of the front runners in the Me Too movement. You know, she was out there front and center, and nothing negative when I talk about Rose McGowan either. I think there have been some very terrible people that have been positioned in the Me Too movement. I do not think that Rose McGowan went out to be that. I think Rose McGowan was just talking about a horrible person in Harvey Weinstein, and yeah, I think we learned a lot about, I think we already knew about Hollywood. We didn't learn a lot about Hollywood. I think we already knew. I think the floodgates open. But it was really interesting to see how all this stuff, like, hey, what's up, by the way, Kat? These are the 20 months there, fun week coming up. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be wild. Like this week, I don't even know what to think about how this is gonna work out. But Marilyn Manson ends up having dinner with, I have a kid pop up right off the bat. Hey, kiddo, you got to go play for a little while.
Why say right off the bat?
Right off the bat? That means from the beginning. That's what that means. You know? All right. Take that upstairs, though.
At the top?
Yes, you're going to have the top. Close my door, please, too, okay? You have to go play for a little while. I'm going to cover some crazy stuff, okay?
What about?
Yeah.
What about?
Yeah. Hey, close the door, though, for me, okay? Thank you. I heard her. She almost got, I heard her come off the steps. Huh? Yeah, take it up there. Enjoy it. You know, don't spill it, okay? Love you.
I won't.
All right, love you. Close that door for me. All right, so Marilyn Manson and Rose McGowan, like I said, the little one, I can hear her, you can hear her coming off the steps, and usually I'll switch right then, but I got the words right off the bat, right before, then I was like, whoa, wait a minute, here she comes, and she was like, well, what's that, right off the bat, why'd you say that? You know, what's that mean? You're like, well, that means from go. The rest of it we're not going to discuss today. But, all right. So Marilyn Manson ends up having dinner with Rose McGowan at a highly public restaurant, which is, it's fascinating because there have been a lot of people that have backed Marilyn Manson. Now, Rose McGowan, it was fascinating because at first she backed Marilyn Manson, but because of where she's at in this movement, I mean, it creates this, see, there's this interesting conundrum these folks run into. Because do you say, yeah, I'm backing him, or do I back the Me Too movement? You know, do I back this idea of just, I'm going to applaud people who say that they're victims? And a lot of people showed him support, but they showed him support behind the scenes more than anything. And she ended up showing support after her initial statements for the accusers. Now, publicly, she's sitting down with him. And that, like when you deal with a lot of these folks, I mean, when you look at Manson right now is putting together a comeback. It's taken a while, but he's now starting to put out music again. He's talking about tour dates. I mean, we hear all of this stuff. And he has tried suing. Here's a fascinating thing about lawsuits, too. You know, a lot of people think you're going to meet your accusers in court. You know, if they accuse you of terrible things. Not necessarily. Manson, you know, he had a lot of his lawsuits struck down when he tried to bring things forward. And some of them are just sitting in limbo as well. So he hasn't even, as far as their truth versus what you say is the truth, you don't even get to showcase that, which is crazy. But Rose McGowan sits down and is, the Manson case notes, will we eventually hear from her, who previously supported the accusers there? A journalist posted this photograph on Instagram yesterday, but it's confirmed that this was Rose McGowan that had dinner with Marilyn Manson. So this had been confirmed, and again, the Manson cases goes out of their way to confirm all of this stuff. I mean, if anyone, they go to levels. I know I've spoken to them privately about several things because I wanted to understand certain items that were part of cases. And I mean, just again, the level that they go to make sure that they're factually correct in anything that they post. It's very impressive. So you can see the post there. Now, for those keeping track, this would mean that Manson has two big faces from the Me Too movement on his side. Which is fascinating, again, because if you keep up with the public face of that movement, again, most people do not deviate. It doesn't matter if they're friends. It doesn't matter if many of them have known that something was wrong. They still support accusers. It's an ugly side of it. It should be a thing where people can go out. They can say, yes, something has happened to them too. But if they're going to publicly accuse people, they need to back that as well. And unfortunately, that second part, if you're going to publicly accuse people, that doesn't manifest. Like, at least, God, 1 out of 2 at least. And that's probably lowballing the number. But you can see the notations about that too. It's also worth noting that Rose is following another person that is involved in this. And it's interesting when you look. So there was actually one of the accusers for Marilyn Manson not only recanted what they said, but when they recanted, the stuff that they talked about was crazy. They talked about the accusers getting together and telling people that didn't initially want to accuse that maybe they weren't remembering things correctly. Maybe they needed to go in and they needed to recover memories. You know, the junk science that we heard back in the 1980s? You know, sit down, recover memories. And the allegations that were put there, some of them were easily disprovable. And that's why you end up with certain parties recanting. Now, other parties will go to their grave without recanting. And some of the accusations against Manson are just off the wall, insane. Like when you see some of them, they are out there. They are really out there. You know, the idea, like he was filming a video, and his main accuser says that during the video, while people are standing around as part of the video that you can see that they were essayed during that portion that you can see. And, the person responsible for the video was like, that was shot over days. It wasn't just like some seamless thing where you could go in and something could happen not in front of people. You had an entire crew that was there. So, again, some of the accusations are wild and disturbing. But I thought that this was an absolute bombshell when it comes to everything going on with Manson. Because again, you don't see the faces of that movement sit down with anyone that's accused, let alone more than one of them sitting down and actually talking or having dinner. It sounds like I'm going to have an interruption again. I think it's going to be one of those nights. That's hilarious. The David Gingras stuff, too. I'm going to pull up a couple of things there. Hey, Bessie, thanks for the 30 months, too. Said it was the door when Manson was accused, wrote Ms. McGowan. Have to speak out about it like she did with Harvey Weinstein on Dr. Soup's channel. Yeah, there need to be if people know something's not correct, it doesn't do anyone justice to allow it to continue to go forward. Yes. Hey, you gotta go upstairs today. Oh yeah, it's Katie did. Those things they die after a couple of days. Just put it outside. Hey, take them upstairs. You go upstairs too, Audia. Hey, will you go upstairs with her? Hey, go upstairs with Sissy real quick.
I don't like that phone.
All right, take it upstairs. And you can you can give it the whoosh treatment. Say it a few words and whoosh it down, They got a katydid the other day. I was like, that katydid, if you keep it, it's going to live like 3 days maybe. Yeah, you can feed it, take care of it, do whatever, and that thing will not live. They don't live. It's like a giant grasshopper. They don't live very long at all. They don't have a long life cycle. She was like, yeah, it's gone. I was like, yeah, of course it is, I told you it wouldn't make it. What's up, John? Thanks, Bob. Hey, Tug. Wondering if you heard Time Bandits was getting a remake. Yet another movie with dwarves in it that will not have dwarves. That's bizarre. That's very bizarre. I have not heard that that's getting a remake. I'm not surprised that Time Bandits is getting a remake, but that'll be terrible. Time Bandits is a classic. It's funny for all the right and wrong reasons. Some of those movies that are made, there's no way to recapture what was there. But especially when you have whatever you call dwarves, little people, whatever the correct word is these days, when you won't even cast the same folks that made the magic there, I don't even understand that either. I don't understand not casting little people in that, because aren't you denying them work? I don't know. I don't even understand that anymore. But no, I didn't know that was getting a remake. That's crazy and kind of sad in there too. Now, as far as Gingras, I enjoy watching Gingras and watching all the crazy stuff he puts up. He's one of the wildest freaking folks I have ever seen online. Now, there has been a lot that has come out over the last few days. I thought I would take 5 days and catch up every single thing that has actually gone on. Some of those blog posts that we didn't hit, some of the filings, all of that. But for Gingras himself, it's kind of wild the way... you wouldn't even have to know this case. If you think about the quote-unquote logic that is being pushed by an attorney right here. Just drink this in and think about this. So just finished reading Clayton Echard's trial exhibits. There's 1,169 pages That's not including 3+ hours of video and audio stuff. Nothing new here. With 60 minutes per side, that works out to about 3 seconds per page without allowing any time for questions or answers or playing videos. Now, you think about that. The reason that you add all of this stuff, first of all, you know the judge is going to see all of this. The judge is going to make the decisions, and the judge will see all the filings. But you also include it because there will likely be an appeal process. And when an appeal comes up, you want the entirety of your case on display. You want everything to be reasonable, everything to be accessible, and to say that's too much, it's crazy. I mean, you can take all of that and you can present an argument. It's going to be difficult to present all of that in 60 minutes, but that's what lawyers do. They can compress it into 60 minutes. They can make the case make sense in that amount of time. But you have so much evidence. In my opinion, so much overwhelming evidence that showcases that, it was more than just I thought I was therefore. Versus, again, he's like, what we have is, it's barely, like what, a 20th of that? I can't remember his number. I'll scan down. And also, he's been, so he says they have 78 megs by comparison. They're items, too. I actually want to look at the breakdown of what they're going to bring to the table. Because what they bring to the table, it is a shadow comparatively. But this statement here, folks, if you have 0 followers and your X account was created in May, June 2024, I'm auto-blocking you if you comment. So it doesn't matter how great your comment is. It doesn't matter how much sense you bring to the table. No, you're going to get auto-blocked for asking questions. That's fascinating. I've seen people do this before. This casual dismissal. I actually saw this coming out of comics at one time. And it was crazy the way that was framed. You had a comic, quote-unquote, professional. I hate to call them professionals, they're professionals simply because you're in the profession. But, being a professional, that's highly contested. But they would make statements like, well, if you don't have enough followers and you have a certain type of profile picture and you said, well, as a black man, you are apparently, quote, a blackface troll. That's what the comic pros would take that further. They would say, you don't have enough. You don't meet this certain criteria, therefore. And you see that on the losing end a lot of times. I'm not saying that there aren't bad faith people out there. Sure, there always are. In fact, I remember a certain person being, an allegation against them about them supposedly creating accounts, to accuse people of, dropping certain nasty little N-words. You remember that one? I wonder who that was. Maybe David Gingrich should look into that. Maybe he should block them. But then again, I guess he'd be blocking a paycheck, right? Allegedly. It's just amazing. Oh, well, if you have an account, it's been created during this time, then. I mean, this stuff, it's fascinating. And it's because of the blowback. I mean, when you look at the amount of positivity, oh man, there's a like on this post. Holy crap. Better frame that. There's not a lot of those normally. But you have 21 comments, and the comments don't typically go the way that like a Gingrich would want them to go. Because most people have looked at everything that's come out. They've seen the story. And I mean, in fact, they've given us their pre-trial statement, and they've given us their request for finding of fact and conclusions. So the proposed finding of facts here, let me actually bring this up. I thought some of this was fascinating because you can see how they're putting their arguments together. So Laura and Clayton Echard, this is again, you can see who files this here. This is Laura Owens requesting finding of facts and conclusions. So, they first meet, according to her, on May 17th, 2023, when Laura sends Clayton a message on LinkedIn to ask Clayton if he could help her locate some investment properties in Scottsdale. Now, Clayton, who's a realtor, responds and told Laura he would be glad to help. Now, between the 18th and the 20th, Clayton, he meets up with Laura, and they view some properties in Scottsdale. Then on the evening of the 20th, Clayton invites Laura over, which she accepts. Now, after Laura arrives, according to them, Clayton told her he was quote-unquote high on cannabis gummies, offered her one, which she accepted. By the way, this brings up some interesting discussions on consent. If he is trashed out of his gourd, how does consent work for you folks? You know, because I always thought if you were too fried, according to her, you know, during the protective order, she said that he was too out of it to remember. He was too high too. Doesn't that mean that he would be too high to give consent? I mean, just wondering. Then again, that only goes one way, right? Now, during the late evening of the 20th, early morning of the 21st, both parties agree that certain, I love that they put in the certain thing because they're trying to allege terrible things about Echard. That's become one of their go-tos now. Got to put that in black and white, right? You got to say, yes, agreed to certain things. And it's amazing, the messages that she herself put out. Yeah, when you read that, it was really funny listening to the tilted lawyer actually read those too, because they don't really go with the narrative that well. But certain activities would occur between the two, including oral. Now, she claims that she told Clayton that she did not want to have intercourse, but that he, quote unquote, stuck it in briefly despite her statement. Again, one of those ways to tarnish somebody. And actually, this is one of the ways that you flip the script. And you know what's the saddest part about this? This is one of the ways that best case scenario, a lot of times the media will ignore the entire thing because even if they know that this is a travesty, they do not like to admit that this type of stuff exists. It does not go with narratives. Their narratives are, yeah, cases like this don't exist anyway, so they don't want to cover that. But on top of that, accusations, you know, ones that might be brandished as weaponry, no. That doesn't happen. It happens so infrequently that we just won't talk about it. When, yeah, you see it popping up again and again. You know, it's amazing when you look at the statistics on that. Even by their accepted statistics, they're talking about thousands to tens of thousands of people that are falsely accused. They're willing to just throw those away. And this, like I said, is the easiest way to flip that script and to make sure that, again, best case scenario, they won't even talk about it. Worst case scenario, they actually may adopt this going forward, no matter how crazy things are. I've seen that happen, and it's wild. Now, of course, they put in, he denies that allegation, but they make sure that that allegation, it was front and center. You notice that allegation, it has become not only a staple in what they're alleging, but it has become one of the first items that they put forward. I mean, it's right there. It is the first actual disputed allegation that they're going to throw out there. I mean, when you think about that reeks of strategy. And if that strategy, whew, man. So, Laura's expert, Dr. Michael Medchill, retired OBGYN with over 30 years of experience, testified that pregnancy is entirely possible, even without intercourse. Yeah, he testified that, again, he can't say 100%, even though expert witnesses, there are times when expert witnesses are necessary, but oftentimes in court, they are just a punctuation, high-price punctuation to insanity. People hire them to say some of the nastiest stuff, to back up like some of the craziest assertions, and they get paid very well to do that, by the way. Now, he can't say that with 100% certainty that this stuff happened. Why? Because there's no record that actually indicates that besides her own statements. There are, again, they're going to go, oh, well, HCG tests. Okay. What about ultrasounds and stuff? What about an OBGYN that actually backs that up? No, they're going to have that. They're going to have a paid OBGYN after the fact that comes in and says that. Now, the court finds Dr. Medchill's testimony credible and helpful. The court further finds, as a matter of medical fact, pregnancy can occur even without intercourse as long as sperm and egg are in sufficient proximity to result in fertilization. Oh my God. I feel like I'm taking one of those... It feels like one of those after-school specials, you know? You remember those like back in the day? Warning! Don't do drugs and don't engage in these type of extracurriculars. Why? Because, dun dun dun, litter of babies. Or in this case, twinspiracy. I mean, it really does feel like one of those. You know, we brought in an expert to tell you. Finding it credible, too. Yeah. Yeah, we'll allow your expert to throw in their weight. Now, for the purposes of this case, and based on the evidence presented, it is not necessary for the court to determine whether that intercourse did or did not occur between the two. By Clayton's own admission, the other contact between him and Laura was sufficient to result in pregnancy, even if intercourse never occurred. By his own admission, huh? Is it possible, Clayton, that could happen? I mean, my God. It's so ridiculous. Clayton even said... I mean, it's possible I'll go outside and the grass may turn blue today. But you know what? I'm not expecting bluegrass out there. Bluegrass. Down, 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 down. Maybe I expect a little bluegrass if I wander out in the woods far enough. But that's beside the point. On the 24th, Laura asks Clayton to prepare written purchase offers for 2 properties she wants to purchase. $425,000 for one, another $699,000. She asks Clayton, as her realtor, to prepare purchase offers and submit these to the seller and seller agent. Clayton prepares those, which he signed on around the 24th, but he never submitted those. That is its own bucket of crazy, by the way, if you've been keeping up. What's up, John, by the way? Thanks for the 5. Well, our egg spirit says that it is possible. Indeed, indeed. My expert. It's an egg spirit is what it looks like, though. My egg spurt. I like that. That's my egg spurt. These days, it could be egg spirit, too. If I can be a dragonkin and everything else, I can be egg spirit. You know what? Like I said, I identify as pregnant. If you have a problem with that, by the way, you don't understand how this beautiful body works. You have no idea. I mean, I sat down. Yeah, I was lazy during the beer bug, but like I've said many times, this beautiful body, I gave it up for all of you. 18 months. I carried it for 18 months. Actually, 18 months. Oh, Lord. This is the insanity. So, Laura later asked Clayton whether he'd heard anything from the seller. Now, you know what's fascinating about all of this? What does this mean? We're told all the time that we actually have to have a point to stuff, right? What is the point to all of this? Like, what does this prove? All the realtor nonsense. Again, we're told that certain witnesses, they don't get to have their statements in court. We don't get to hear about other items because they don't mean anything. And yet we hear about realtors in buying property. So Laura later asks whether Clayton had heard anything from the sellers. In response, he falsely informs her that he submits the offers. When asked if he received a response, Clayton told her he had not, but he never told Laura the reason why they had not received, i.e. because no offers had been submitted. Based on the undisputed evidence, the court finds, as a matter of fact, that Clayton made 2 knowingly false statements to Laura about the real estate purchase offer. Oh, so we're talking about truth. That's a fascinating thing. Truth coming in. Isn't that interesting? I thought that's not a lie. That's just a minor infraction, right? I mean, that wouldn't matter. That's what I've heard from a certain lawyer. I've got another interrupter. Yes.
I'm at withdrawal now.
Huh?
No, I'm withdrawal.
Okay, give me 5 real quick.
I'm withdrawal now.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey.
Now I have withdrawal because I drink a lot of wine.
Okay. You've got red drool. That's interesting. All right. Hey. All right. Go upstairs and play.
I love this wine drink and I love my withdrawal color.
Yeah. You like your red drinks because it gives you red drool. That is a fascinating thing. I am glad you shared.
Yeah. Someone needs to get blue drool.
Okay. Not right in this minute. Why don't you go play for a little while and work off the red drool? Yeah, that'll be later, okay?
Someone needs to get blue drool.
Maybe I'll get some blue drool later, okay?
Blue drool?
What in the world? She drank a Kool-Aid thing earlier. She's like, I got red drool. I'm like, thank you for telling me that. I'm glad to know that you have red drool. Oh, Lord. They crack me up. I actually like the momentary interruptions like that sometimes because some of this stuff is so awful. You know, it is. I mean, when you think about how this all comes together. So then we get to on part 21, we actually link back to where we were. Isn't it fascinating that we take this diversion? They There are allegations about intercourse. And then, like I said, from 12 all the way through, they're like, oh, and by the way. So on the 31st, Laura took a home pregnancy test, which showed a faint positive. A faint positive. What is a faint positive? By the way. Well, you gotta find out about that later on. Back that up, of course, because it's a faint.
Say the same kid. Say the same kid.
All right, here. Hey,
Say the same kid.
Yeah. Yes, you are the same kid, of course. All right. This last one, okay?
Yeah. I have 3 left.
Yeah, I know. All right, you gotta. Hey, are you gonna go watch your show?
How do you open these?
They're hard to open. This one's difficult, actually. Yeah. Man, this thing is gross. There, though. Got on my hand there.
I like how you have it
take
down.
those upstairs, though, okay? Yuck.
That was a nasty swear.
Yes, that was nasty. Hey, close my door, though, okay? Thank you. Yuck. I was opening a jammer, and it was like on my hand.
I love that swear.
Yeah, you thought that was funny, didn't you? All right. Hey, go upstairs, though. Close my door. Thank you. I asked for my door to be closed so I can hear when I have an interruption. That's why I ask for that every time. Cedric D, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs, by the way. Appreciate that. Man, this freaking... today, for some reason, super chats and stuff are not showing up the way they normally do in comments. Ugh, it's a mess. So that's why I'm catching the way I'm doing. Sandra, also, thank you for the gifted membership there. Because if I don't watch them roll in, this thing is acting so crazy. All right, so, faint pregnancy test. Then, June 1st, she goes to Banner Urgent Care at Greenway. Informs the nurse she believed she may be pregnant. She asked for a test to determine whether she was in fact pregnant. The test results come back positive, she says. Laura testified that for more than 6 months prior to May 2023, she had not been active with any other man. Based on this, she believed that if she were pregnant, Clayton, he was the only potential father. They're trying to play the whole, again, it's possible no matter what happens. Remember your after-school specials, that this could indeed happen. And then, on top of that, she reported, well, I believe that I was, therefore, I ain't had no man since. Take my word on it, please. Please there. Sandra, thanks for 11 months. Love the little ones? Yeah, they're funny. So in response, okay, so after, wait. Okay, here we are. Dr. Medshill. I was jumping ahead there. Laura's expert, Dr. Medshill, testified that a home pregnancy test can detect pregnancies 11 days after contraception. There is no medical basis to conclude that 11 days post-conception was too soon. The court finds they were credible again. The court further finds, as a matter of fact, a positive pregnancy test 11 days post-contraception is medically plausible, and that the determination of this time period is not impossibly short to allow for accurate determination. So again, they like these, accurate. Again, don't need no ultrasounds to back any of this stuff up. After she receives multiple positive pregnancy tests, she tried to discuss the situation with Clayton. In response, Clayton was hostile and dismissive. Clayton claimed that it was impossible for Laura to be pregnant because we never had sex, despite the fact that Clayton also admitted engaging in other activities, other conduct, which would be sufficient to create the possibility of pregnancy, as Clayton later admitted. So, he has the same response that we have seen from other person, saying, there is no way. And this, interestingly enough, unless I'm totally misreading, and they can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but unless I am totally misreading, text messages that were supposedly not real until, yeah, they were. You know, all those that were authenticated? Yeah, those read the same way. And in fact, the disagreement part sounds the same too. What we saw in the aftermath. Oh, you disagree that this could happen? Let's get to that court. Let's get to it. What's up, Taz? Thanks for the two. Sending love and respect. Thank you. Returning love and respect, by the way. So messed up. On June 19th, Clayton agreed to meet with Laura at his home to discuss the situation. After she arrived, he presented her with a home pregnancy test. Clayton asked her to take the test immediately while she watched. In response, she took the test, and it was also positive. 2 days later, on June 21st, Clayton sends an email entitled Something to Consider. In this email, Clayton made the following statements. Even after seeing a positive pregnancy test, I still have doubts in my head. Something was telling me to look deeper into things. So I did and came up with a theory that could potentially be realistic. Considering you only performed oral on me, you had no penetration that occurred, the chances of you being pregnant seem considerably low. Although again, maybe rubbing up against one another allowed one of his little soldiers to make its way up inside there, but it's a very low probability. Nonetheless, it is one. Lord. Again, trying to argue we've got to ignore the, I thought this looked strange, and, all the evidence that really seems to back up what he's saying, Oh, yeah. We got to ignore that and focus on this other part, the underlying portion. Attached to the Something to Consider email were 2 photos of home pregnancy tests. One labeled day 11, which reflects the test Laura took on May 31st, and the second, day 21, which she took in front of Clayton on June 19th. In that email, Clayton stated, something else I found interesting was that the test you first sent me on day 11 and the test you took on day 21 with me looked identical as far as the test lines go. Now, assuming she became pregnant on May 20th, the photo of the test she took on May 31st would accurately be described as day 11, meaning 11 days post-conception. However, the test she took in front of Clayton on June 19th would not be accurately described as day 21 because there are 30 days between May 20th and June 19th, not 21 days. Dun, dun, dun. By Clayton's own admission in this email, Laura presented 2 positive pregnancy tests, including one test which was purchased by Clayton, taken by Laura in front of Clayton without any advance notice. At no time in the Something to Consider email did Clayton ever suggest she had faked these pregnancy tests or done anything to affect their results. Yeah, he was supposed to unravel all of this within 30 days. He was supposed to unravel something that, again, if you look at the mountains of evidence that are being presented to the court on June 10th, this own lawyer actually noted there, by the way, talking about 1,000+ pages, hours of video evidence. That doesn't manifest in 30 days. But apparently you're supposed to. You're supposed to have unraveled it, found all of this stuff. Instead, Clayton presented a theory that she may have received false positive due to medication she was taking, potentially due to prior epilepsy diagnosis. Her expert says, oh yeah, that could happen. Because of course they want to argue good faith. Yeah, sure. That's our out. It's a good faith thing. You notice they're building that. Mitchell further testified as part of the review on the matter. He requested and received copies of approximately 200 pages of Laura's medical records from Maryland Neurological Institute in Phoenix, all of which have been previously disclosed to Clayton's counsel. Mitchell testifies that her medical records from contain summaries of all of her reported medications, and none of those medications could cause a false positive. Okay. Wait. So, wait. Certain medications can do it, but, well, none of those could. Okay. There are a lot of items. First of all, it's the same thing that you learn with drug tests. You realize that over-the-counter items, they give a lot of incorrect results. It's the same way with, say, a 5-panel drug test. Not the same thing. Again, we're measuring something different, but the cheapest drug tests out there, 1 out of 5. That's what you're ending up with false positive or false results. That's why you have to have follow-ups. That's why you always do follow-ups for any of this stuff. Anything that you just go in and buy at the pharmacy. It doesn't matter if you bought 700 of the freaking things. You know, if they're picking up on something that's there, that could indeed happen. But it's interesting, her doctor is, they're actually laying the foundation for something else to be alleged too. If something is giving you that, what indeed? And there have been discussions about what could be there indeed too. Now, Laura testified that on November 14th, she sought OBGYN services from a facility called MomDoc to determine whether she was still pregnant. At that appointment, she was given 2 pregnancy tests, both of which were negative. She testified that between those dates, she did not change her epilepsy medication, nor did she begin any new meds or stop taking any medications other than as reported to her doctor at Neurological Institute. Based on the evidence, the court finds as a matter of fact that Laura did not take any medications that could plausibly have caused a false positive, and that to the extent Clayton has claimed otherwise, he has failed to provide any credible evidence to support that conclusion. Laura testified that at no time did she do anything whatsoever to tamper with pregnancy tests or do anything to alter their results. Laura's expert, Dr. Mitchell, testified home pregnancy tests are generally accepted to be scientifically accurate with an accuracy rate of 98 to 99%. Shit. That's a bunch of trash right there. Oh, they're 99% effective. Yeah. Like I said, it's the same reason why, when you look at cost, so mental health, again, different thing, but you're talking about the cheapest tests out there. 5-panel drug tests. You talk about cost versus effectiveness. One of the reasons that a lot of places they would utilize something like that is because they're cheap. But one of the reasons that they say, well, maybe not, maybe we need to do something better, is because of effectiveness. It's the same thing that you see. But creators of this stuff, they get to argue that their items are X amount effective as long as they leave some leeway for that to fail. If you've seen lawsuits over claims that something is 100% effective, you remember all of those losses that we saw? Yeah, different fields But still, again, pretending. It's just such a weird argument. What's up, John S? Thanks for the 5 there. You can get drug and pregnancy tests at freaking Dollar Tree for $1.25. Indeed, I would not trust any test unless I bought it myself. And even then, there's a reason that you have to go in and you have to verify something in a different manner. There is a reason for that. The court finds him credible and helpful. They further find, as a matter of fact, home pregnancy tests are generally accepted. So the court finds that to the extent Clayton claims 2 home pregnancy tests referenced and something considered were either faked or otherwise tampered with, he's failed to provide any credible evidence. The court finds, as a matter of fact, Laura did not tamper with or otherwise fake the home pregnancy tests. The court further finds, as a matter of fact, that Laura did not tamper with or otherwise fake the pregnancy tests she took at Banner Urgent Care. And that to the extent Clayton has claimed otherwise, he has failed to prove that, essentially. I'm shorthanding a few things. Then she talks about passing 2 small, fleshy objects that were smaller than any hand. She testifies that on July 23rd. Believing she might have miscarried, she testified she took 2 photos and sought medical advice from a telehealth provider. Telehealth providers. Two days later, July 25th, she took another home pregnancy test to determine whether she was still pregnant. That was positive. August 1st, she takes another home pregnancy test. Positive. August 1st, Laura and Clayton had various communications about the situation, but were not able to reach an agreement on any issues. No dating contracts were signed, y'all. None indeed. May 20th, Laura stopped having her normal menstruation. Her period did not resume until November. Between May 20th and November, she gained weight and experienced significant swelling in her abdomen. Between those dates, she testified she felt like she was pregnant. I feel like I'm pregnant. Again, I feel like I'm pregnant. Whew. Of course, I did eat some Greek earlier. It was a few days ago, but still, maybe that's the reason. Laura filed an establishment petition August 1st. At that time, again, dates are very fascinating through this. August 1st. They talk about, when did she go in? When did all of this stuff happen? Again, some of these dates are kind of interesting, aren't they? July 23rd, we have our mom. Again, when you look over all of this and you start looking at dates, you get into what's going on? Now, at that time, Laura had a reasonable factual basis to believe she might be pregnant and Clayton may be the father. At the time she filed, she was not represented. At the time he first appeared, he was not represented. August, Laura asked Clayton to agree to a DNA test. Clayton initially told her he would participate. She pays $725, but Clayton refused to provide a sample. August 18th, she contacts to cancel. In July and August, Laura made multiple appointments to see an OBGYN named Dr. McCool. She scheduled 4 separate appointments, rescheduled 3, then canceled the final after reporting that she had tested positive. Dr. McCool's office produced 44 pages of records confirming that she contacted the office multiple times, scheduled numerous appointments, and provided the office with other records relating to pregnancy. Later, September, October, both Clayton and Laura submitted samples. A representative later informs both parties that they were inconclusive because there was little to no fetal DNA found. Therefore, There was insufficient evidence for them to reach a conclusive result to include or exclude Clayton. October 16th, she has blood tests done showing an HCG level of 102. According to Dr. Medchill, that's strong proof of pregnancy, but at this stage, it is indicative of a non-viable pregnancy, meaning a pregnancy that's unlikely to result in the birth of a healthy child or a pregnancy that was likely to end with a miscarriage. A woman who is currently carrying non-viable pregnancy is still, by definition, pregnant. So according to Dr. Medchill, everything has to be based on Dr. Medchill. Because again, there are no other doctors that are involved. According to Medchill, HCG in a woman's blood is typically evidence that the woman is or recently was pregnant. HCG is in a woman's blood can also come from other unrelated medical conditions such as tumors, certain types of medication, but there's little evidence to show that in her blood could have resulted from anything. I wonder, could it have resulted from any other condition that she reported having? I'm really stumped at that. Oh wait, she didn't report that to Dr. Medchill. I can't believe these people's names, man. I feel like I'm reading the script to a Mario game. Every time I'm playing Mario, currently. And these names do not sound real. Dr. McCool and Dr. Medchill. I mean, I feel like I'm being punked. So November 14th, Laura has a gynecological, man, I almost was like, visit with provider at MomDoc, OBGYN service. At the time, she was given 2 pregnancy tests. Both are negative. This means she's no longer pregnant mid-November. According to Medchill, facts and evidence suggest that she became pregnant May the 20th, that her pregnancy progressed for some period of time, and it ended with spontaneous abortion, or SAB, at some point around late October, November. According to Medchill, although some miscarriages end with women expelling tissue, that's not always the case. It's not uncommon for a woman to have a miscarriage in which the fetus and other tissue remain in the mother's body and are absorbed into the body. The unique facts and evidence of this case made it impossible to determine when precisely her pregnancy ended via SAB. So, that's a fact right here. It's become a fact. According to Dr. Medchill, the facts of the case did not support a claim that she was required to file a death certificate in Arizona law. This is due to the fact that in Arizona, a death certificate is required. The gestational age at the time of fetal death occurs 20 weeks. Talked about that. In his opinion, that occurred before 20 weeks. Interesting, considering some of those time periods we had batted around. But hey, court finds it helpful. Court finds, as a matter of fact, Laura was pregnant during the early stages, but that her pregnancy ended in a miscarriage at some point in November 2023, and she was not required to file a fetal death certificate. Due to the unique circumstances, the court finds, as a matter of fact, that it is impossible to determine the exact date pregnancy ended, but this determination is not necessary. According to the docket, which the court may take judicial notice, Laura filed no further pleadings in this action after she learned she was no longer pregnant. In or around November 2023, until such time as he retained counsel. First appeared December 12th. December 12th, Laura retained counsel. And on December 28th, counsel filed a motion seeking to voluntarily dismiss with prejudice. January the 2nd, man, I'm telling you, we're skipping over a lot of high points, aren't we? There's a lot of stuff left in the, just left out there. January the 2nd, Laura's motion for voluntary dismissal was filed. Clayton, through counsel, filed Rule 26 sanctions. Motion was later withdrawn. And as the date of the trial in this matter, no pending motions for sanctions. Now, the proposed conclusions, of course, through this, rolling through, again, they're talking about, well, pregnancy or not. And then they get to 11. To the extent Clayton has asked the court to find that she lied about being pregnant or made the whole thing up, or she filed this action with any improper motives beyond establishing paternity, the court finds those allegations listed civil claims and civil causes of action such as defamation, abuse of process, and or malicious prosecution, for which both parties would have the constitutional right to trial by jury. The court finds, as a matter of law pursuant to, that it lacks subject matter jurisdiction for civil claims, causes of action. The court further finds, as a matter of law, that she did not engage in any unreasonable litigation conduct in this matter. Okay. So you see the layout. And the reason I wanted to read this to you is because when I read this, I thought, man, all of this argument revolves around the statements of one expert witness that was brought in. And what's fascinating is that along with this, there's been this narrative that if you talk about this, if you disagree, then, well, Laura's version, hated in the nation. I thought this was fascinating. It's so crazy. Listen to this. I really want you to think about other things that we've read, we've seen. And I'm going to power through this because I just want you to see the way that the framework of this comes up. So over the Memorial Day weekend, Laura sent me a draft for an article blog post to review. This wasn't something we had discussed. It wasn't something I suggested she write. She wrote it on her own and then asked me if it would be okay if with her publishing. She didn't need my permission to speak, but I previously asked her not to make public statements about the case after I got involved. No, you make plenty of them on her behalf, right, buddy? You motivated people to come out of the woodwork and to actually talk about this stuff. It has been something to behold. It's amazing. We've talked about this with many a case. Don't make public statements. And again, a lawyer, there are lawyers that they can go out and talk about the facts and do it very well. Adam Waldman was one. He did a beautiful job of going out and presenting arguments that they took apart the travesty that was. On the other side of that, though, I would say that what I've seen here, it's the opposite. It's you should be advised not to speak. So I told her not to. At this phase of the case, now coming to an end, I think she deserves a chance to share her side of the story and more details about how she feels today. Yes, I know there's still unanswered questions, but we will get to all those in just 12 days. But for now, I'm going to share her comments as is. I haven't edited any parts at all, nor have I added anything to them other than this intro. Now, the hated in the nation, where does that come from? Well, as I was reading Laura's post, and really since becoming involved in this case, it struck me how many parallels there are to the Black Mirror episode called Hated in the Nation. If you've never seen this, jump on Netflix and find it. Hating the Nation tells the story of several people who die mysteriously and painfully after they found themselves targeted by angry haters on social media. We eventually learn a hacker created a game of consequences where people on Twitter can nominate anyone they dislike with a hashtag, #DeathTo. Each day at 5 p.m., the person with the most votes is killed by a swarm of robot insects, and the game starts over the next day. Yeah, it totally reminds me of what's been happening, right? I mean, you remember that poll on Twitter? You remember all those robot insects? I mean, I see enough of those robot insects in my comments, you know? They're like, they're like nudes in bio. Those are definitely insects, and they swarm. But that's not what they mean here. Yeah, you see the parallels, though, right? I mean, all these people dropping dead from... It's like, are you kidding me? It's amazing, too, considering she asked for attention on it. She wanted it. And when she got it, she didn't like the attention she received. I won't spoil the outcome, but the story ends with justice being served in a very strange way. The reason I mention this is because there's a scene in there where a woman tells the police what it was like to be the target of hate on social media. It was like having a whole weather system turn against me. Just hate message after hate message around the clock. It's hard to describe what that does to your head. Suddenly there's a million invisible people all talking about how they despise you. Hands up, I made a mistake. But the way people enjoy kicking me, that's what got to me. Here's a fascinating part of that. You see the discussion? Here's the part that's not going to be discussed in his. You notice that little part right there? Hands up, I made a mistake. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that reminds you of that? What was the mistake? What was the hands up, I made a mistake portion? What was the little oopsie? That comment really struck me. I've been involved in some controversial cases over the years. I've seen what online hate looks like. Most of the time, it's annoying and be painful. Yeah, typically, I would say that the people that you've represented, they've been described as the online hate. You know, when we look at the different cases that have been attributed to him, yeah, I mean, you again, look at that. But it tends to be short-lived and everyone quickly moves on. And Laura's case is different. To be honest, I've never seen the level of raw, unchained, venomous hate that her critics have. It's actually very shocking, even to a guy who has seen much, much, much more of this sort of thing than most people. You really have to start to wonder, how can people be this depraved, heartless, and hate-filled? I mean, criticizing her for her actions is one thing. What actions? What actions are being criticized? That's fascinating. What does criticism look like? What does that word mean? Because I've been privy to some of the statements that have been sent to different people out there, and I get the feeling that any type of criticism is perceived as depraved, heartless, and hateful. Laughing and enjoying someone else's pain, that's something entirely different. The good news is every case will eventually end. Yes, even this one. If justice has anything to do with it, I'm confident the outcome will be fine for Laura. Yeah, that may require an appeal to get there. That may require an appeal to get there, but we will get there. You notice that too. We may lose, but we'll appeal. And I'm confident after the appeal, we'll actually get the right conclusion. That was a fascinating statement. You know, when you look over this, it's like, yeah. Because that statement there sounds like, well, yeah, we'll lose, but, well, you know, we still have another chance. Until that happens, I will not leave Laura to fight this battle alone. Yes, I'm still honoring all my ethical duties, but we're not at the point yet where I'm unable to continue. So if you think I'm walking away anytime soon, I'm not. Of course not. I mean, why would you bail out and keep your word if you found any lies whatsoever? Oh, that's right. They don't count because she had to fess up to that. That's right. I forgot. So Laura's words. Every morning begins with a jolt of panic, yanking me from what little sleep I managed to get. My name is Laura, but in the twisted world of my tormentors, a.k.a. the Justice for Clayton cult, I'm Jane Doe or JD. For 9 restless months, I've been living a nightmare that invades every aspect of my life. Now, you know what's fascinating about a statement like that, too? No one thinks about how Clayton was impacted by any of this. He never comes into it. The moment I open my eyes, dread settles over me like a thick fog. My phone buzzes incessantly with notifications. The first thing I do is check Reddit, bracing myself for the barrage of, hey, why the fuck would you do that? Why do you go on Reddit? You know? I have a Reddit page that absolutely fucking despises me. They've made up some crazy shit about me, too. I don't go on there and check that. Why would you ever do that? Why would you set notifications to it? I mean, why would you do that? Subreddit is a cesspool of vitriol. She's a compulsive liar. All of her evidence is fake. She manipulates everyone around her and then plays the victim. So, this is not criticism. She's a compulsive liar. Evidence is fake. She manipulates everyone around her and plays the victim. Oh, I have a singer. Hey, kiddo. Hey, kiddo. Can you close that door for me? Oh, are you bringing something? What are you bringing? Gigi left her water. Okay, here, hand it to me and I'll set it down here for her. Thank you. That was good for you to find.
When's Gigi gonna come over soon?
She'll be back in. Well, I'll tell you about that later. Okay.
Wait, please. Please tell me right now.
I don't know. I'll have to look and I'll have to talk to her about it. So I'll find out. Okay.
Please, I want.
Go. Hey, you want to brush your teeth? That's the new brush I got.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it up. You can have that one. Take it with you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, take it. You got to put toothpaste and stuff on it. Don't make a mess. Have Sissy help you with it, okay? Close the door for me, too.
Close the door.
Thank you. Each comment is a knife, cutting deeper into my already fragile psyche. I bought some new toothbrushes. She saw them. She was like, ooh, toothbrushes. And I was like, yeah, they're new. Twitter's no refuge, and if I myself, and I hate myself for checking it when I know I shouldn't, it will only upset me more. The account, Clayton's Justice, so they got added. Clayton's Justice actually got added there. Is active as usual. Laura is a pathological liar and deserves every bit of suffering she gets, when Tweet declares. She's dangerous and manipulative. She should be locked up, says another. They've shared more of my personal information, encouraging others to join the hunt. It's like being hunted with no escape. Flashes of June 2023 torment me. I saw a positive home pregnancy test, and my heart raced with fear. The alleged father knew I wasn't on the pill, that I didn't want to have sex, although he wanted to, which he later admitted in his deposition. Oh, wait, what? I headed straight to urgent care facility to confirm it, which I did. I told the father, and he insisted on another test when he bought himself and watched me take it. It's positive, but as he said in his deposition, it was a pregnancy test for people who don't lie about being pregnant. My world was spinning. For weeks, I was paralyzed with fear because his stance on fatherhood changed daily. He demanded an abortion, considered adoption, then debated taking full custody himself, but never joint custody as I hoped. In July, I shelled out $5,000 to hire an attorney just to act as a go-between because he refused to communicate directly. The retainer vanished quickly. In August the 1st, I realized I had no choice but to file a paternity case. My goal was to figure out a parenting plan, not to get money. How many of you, after all that, would have believed you were pregnant? Wouldn't you think that was enough to justify that it was filed in good faith? Again, here's the argument being laid out. Of course, the lawyer says it had nothing to do with putting in Arizona's rules on this. Explicitly allow a paternity case to be initiated during pregnancy to address custody and support issues ahead of time. The law recognizes that the intent to secure a parenting plan and ensure the well-being of the child begins the moment of pregnancy, confirmed regardless of its outcome. I had multiple appointments. Even sent my epilepsy records to high-risk practice to get established. I invited him to ultrasound appointment, but he refused, convinced I would hire an actor to play the doctor. Remember this discussion here. I wonder why he would feel that way. Feeling isolated and desperate, I canceled the appointments. Later, after concerns about a miscarriage, I got a blood test confirming the pregnancy yet again, nearly a year after I filed it, and months after losing the pregnancy. The alleged father and the cult think I should be sanctioned and pay attorney's fees for filing a paternity test. I shouldn't have to file anything. That's fascinating. It's not about money. It's not about money. Nope. But that cult think I should have to pay attorney fees. Should a woman be punished every time she is wrong about paternity, but generally believes she is right and drags a man into court only to have the case dismissed? Should she be sanctioned by the court for literally trying to do the right thing by the child? What kind of precedent does that set? Especially in my case, where there are confirmed urine and blood tests obtained via HIPAA release given to the other side, proving my pregnancy, sanctioning a woman. I remember reading another case where the sisterhood came out. I remember how that galvanized support too. And it later turned out, sanctioning a woman in such a scenario sets a dangerous precedent. Where have I seen this argument? Let me see. Give me a second. Dangerous. Where have I heard this before? Let me see. Let me show you something real fast, just to show you, and then we'll go back to that real quick. Here's a few search results. Depp versus Heard sets a dangerous precedent. Defamation verdict becomes a precedent. Beetlejuice 2 role sets a dangerous precedent. I mean, and you're going to find more and more of those in the statements. That's the statement you find over and over again. I shouldn't have to do this because it sets a dangerous precedent. It discourages women from seeking legal recourse to ensure the welfare of unborn children out of fear of being penalized for an honest mistake or the tragic outcome like a miscarriage. In my situation, everything I did was compliant with the law and driven by genuine concern for child welfare. Again, good faith argument. The law is meant to protect and serve justice, not to be manipulated to further victimize those who are already suffering. I feel bitterness gnaw at me, and I try to shake it off as I consider having breakfast. I should eat. After all, I've lost 40 pounds in 4 months between miscarriage and stress, but the anxiety is constant presence. A tightness in my chest that won't go away. The food sits untouched. The creepy voicemails, the death threats play on a loop in my mind. They've targeted my family too, trying to break me from every angle. Fear is a shadow that never leaves. Sitting at my computer, I check my mail, hoping for a reprieve. Instead, I find more hate. You deserve everything that's going to happen to you, says another. Wait, where was the first? It says another. The harassment is relentless. I cannot escape it. Why don't you just admit you're lying? One email demands. Ah, it looks like the order was changed up. Yes, I've lied before. I'm not proud of it. Yes, I've lied before. I'm not proud of it. I've made mistakes that haunt me and I deeply regret. But those mistakes don't define me. Yes, I have lied before. I'm not proud of it. I made mistakes that will haunt me, that I deeply regret. But those mistakes don't define me. I know who I am. I know my heart. Despite what they say, despite the avalanche of hateful comments and the relentless accusations, I'm not the monster they paint me to be. And here's the thing. I've never lied about being pregnant. I've never lied about being abused. Isn't that what this is all about? Just because I didn't actively seek medical care during my pregnancy doesn't mean I wasn't pregnant. Just because I didn't seek medical care. I was lost, confused, and scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't ask a medical provider. I just asked a expert witness after the fact. The cult has scrutinized every aspect of my life, leaving no stone unturned. They dug up old high school newspapers to discredit a fractured dislocation I suffered. They analyzed the deed on my parents' house and on one I recently bought, the financing we obtained, and feel entitled to every medical record. They know where I've spent my weekends. They know what kind of sandwich I eat. They even made fun of my order. They contact business acquaintances and friends to try to promote justice for Clayton. Nothing is off limits. Their obsession is all-consuming. They act as if their mission is to unearth every aspect of my life and turn it into a weapon against me. They act as though I've never worked a day in my life. They spread the lie that I'm given a large allowance, my father yearly, and the truth is I've worked hard my entire life. I built multiple businesses, made my own money, stood on my own 2 feet, but they ignore that. They paint me as a spoiled, lazy fraud, living off my father's money. They claim that's not true. As soon as this piece is out, they'll flood their Discord channels and Reddit threads with accusations, calling me a liar once again. They'll say I made it all up, that I'm just trying to garner sympathy. Lunchtime comes and goes. Anxiety is too overwhelming. My mind flashes to one of the few things I'm still proud of, my TEDx talk. The one they're obsessed with getting taken down. In my talk, I share a story about strangers on a plane who handed me a letter telling me I was being abused based on what she overheard my ex telling me. The letter was a lifeline, a moment of clarity that helped me see a situation for what it was. The woman who wrote the letter even provided a declaration for my restraining order, hearing against my abuser. After 6 years of communicating, we finally met in person last year, but the skeptics won't accept this. They hired a handwriting analyst to compare the letter to my handwriting, convinced I'd fabricated the entire story. They accused me of hiring an actress to play the part of a kind stranger. Nothing can be real. The man who the Good Samaritan saw was abusing me, along with 2 others I have restraining orders against, are now disturbingly labeled as my victims. They argued that I've somehow manipulated the entire justice system, bamboozled the judges. Remember, Clayton is one of those. Remember, his commentary, you're allowed to accuse him of anything. But him being like, heck yeah, no, I am not the father, that's too much. Publicly celebrating that. I mean, if it went on fucking Maury Povich, it wouldn't be too much. But celebrating that. After he's had this brought to him publicly. He's not allowed to comment. And then the whole idea of, I didn't share things with anyone, even though in the same hearing, items were shared, and we found out about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they argue how I've done all of that and weaved an elaborate web of lies to paint myself as the wrong party. They refused to believe my story could be true, as if they have a monopoly on my reality. I developed epilepsy for the repeated trauma at the hands of my ex-boyfriend and was one of only 650 people accepted by the Barrow Neurological Institute's DV brain injury program. This program is designed for those who lives have been shattered by abuse, their bodies and minds bearing the scars of the violence inflicted upon them. And yet in their twisted narrative, I'm the manipulator, the one who has somehow orchestrated this grand deception. Were they there when I was suffocated with a pillow until the world around me faded to black? When I was choked so violently that I genuinely believed I would never take another breath? It's so strange we don't hear about how, you have consensual sexual activity repeatedly with somebody, and you engage in kinky sex, and it becomes this. Were they present for the countless nights of terror, the moments when I felt utterly powerless and alone, but didn't have the courage to leave? They weren't there when I was gasping for air, resigned to the fact that I might die, and hated myself so much I didn't care if he killed me. They weren't there when I was suffocated under the weight of a pillow, slipping into unconsciousness. They didn't witness the terror in my eyes, the desperation in my heart. They speak with such certainty, as if they've seen the dark corners of my life, yet know nothing of my reality. See, I hate this statement. You know why I hate that? Because some people end up in terrible situations, and they do indeed stay there. They do. Because they have no way out. They don't feel like that, or they do lie to themselves. When you read the statements on that in the moment, though, it's so bizarre what those statements in a courtroom had become. How do they claim to know these things didn't happen? How can they sit behind their screens and call this man my victim? The sheer cruelty and absurdity of their accusations turn my life into an unending nightmare. Every day I'm bombarded with a relentless hate, this determination to discredit and destroy me. They act as their words are facts. If their belief can rewrite my history and erase my pain. They have convinced me that I am an unproductive person. And when in my mind I take a nap. As I do throughout the day, I think about Miscarriage. As horrible as my bully has been, nothing compares to the overwhelming sadness I feel about it. But not a single person outside my immediate circle has said they were sorry about it. I wake up not feeling refreshed. My resolve is wearing thin. My attorney calls, offering support. He's been my rock through this nightmare, but even he can't shield me from the constant barrage. We discuss our next legal move, but I know every step will be met with more attacks. They twist the intentions, rally their followers, and keep the pressure on. It's brutal and it's exhausting. My lawyer and I need to focus on the order of protection I got against him, which he wants reversed, and the injunction against harassment that he got against me, which he wants attorney's fees for. It's preposterous. I shake my head thinking about the injunction against harassment. He wrote his petition that I sent him 100 emails and texts in 4 months. By the time we got to the hearing, the number had to be ballooned to 500. No proof, no documentation, just his word against mine. Proof. Weird stuff in that, isn't it? I recall my attorney arguing that there was no evidence, no concrete proof of this escalation, but the judge just took his word, no questions asked. That look of smug satisfaction on his face as he delivered his inflated accusation is etched into my memory. The public has jumped on the 500 figure, despite the complete lack of proof. To them, it was a damning piece of evidence that painted me as unhinged. I would say that we have seen plenty of text messages, some very disturbing series of text messages. The number took a life on its own, repeatedly and amplified until it became an unquestionable truth. My denials, my evidence to the contrary, were drowned out by the sheer volume of their voices. Meanwhile, the order of protection I secured against him was based on clear, documented harassment. He posted things that incited his followers to harass me, and it was explicitly written in the order. But somehow, you didn't see the thing, by the way. You didn't actually see what was presented or anything else. You don't know. Right? I mean, there's no way you could have said, wait. Yeah, there is. Sorry. I mean, it's like, well, you know what's written on that order? And it's like, yeah, did we see that order come into being? Sure we did. But somehow, that became twisted. His side argued that I fraudulently filed a sonogram to obtain the order, and that was the basis for it. That can be further from the truth, and anyone who listens to the hearing which the cult obtains will see how many grounds it was granted on, with none of those being based on an ultrasound. I want to defend myself, but there's no point. None of that was based on an ultrasound, by the way. That's fascinating, right? None of that was based on an ultrasound. Huh. That is a fascinating point to enter there. I want to defend myself, but there's no point. There's a script that I have no control over, where the ending is predetermined, and nothing I can say or do will change it. I want to do something meaningful with the waiting hours in my day, but why should I, when they will do everything in their power to halt every forward step I take? Literally every detail of my life has been meticulously combed through, searching for any possible way to discredit me. My business, my livelihood, everything I've built is under constant attack. They question my permits and license, trying to find any flaws they can exploit. Even the zoning department was contacted about renovations to my horse facilities that were completed years ago, attempting to stir up trouble. But despite a visit from them, the cult didn't have success. Of course, more victims come forward. People who have had bad interactions with me. Anyone have victims if they phrase that way? A contractor I sued and won against, or the landlord I called noise complaints on during the beer bug for co-hosting parties at my old apartment building. They've recruited anyone who might have a negative interaction with me to come forward. Every disagreement, every conflict has twisted into evidence of supposed villainy. Every interaction is scrutinized, every mistake magnified, every flaw exploited. The people who came forward. I think I have a visitor again. Oh, did this, hey, well, stop bumping down the stairs like that.
My butt hurts because I pooped. Hey. Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
I said hi. I love you.
I love you too. Here you go. Take that upstairs.
Why are you laughing?
You just made me laugh. Oh my God.
I make you laugh.
You're just funny. You made me laugh. Hey, no, don't take that. No. Hey, leave that. I don't know. We'll look at it later, though, okay? Just remind me. All right? I'll tell you all about it. All right, take it upstairs. Hey, pay attention to what you're doing. Hey, pay attention to what you're doing. Don't play with that on the steps.
I won't.
Okay. You are right now. Walk up the steps and then play with it, okay? Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Kids, they're so funny. This stuff. Oh, my Lord. Okay. Give me a second. That hit me as really funny. Kids are so like brutally honest about stuff. It's so funny. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Okay, here we go. In regards to the injunction against harassment that he got against me, he claimed in the initial petition that I sent hundreds of emails Text in 4 months. Wait, did we jump backwards? Wait. Good Lord, we're repeating, you know? I was like, wait, did we jump backwards? No. That's, I mean, the 500 thing, you know, it came back up. That's what threw me off real quick. Because it's 500, you know. Yet his side claims that I fraudulently filed a sonogram. That was the basis of it, as if. Maybe nothing bothers me more than what has been said to me on YouTube, Patreon, and podcasts. One content creator in particular has made hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of content about me every day. Turned my life into living hell. He's made a fortune off of it. A fortune? Yeah, I don't think he's made a fortune. While her income has dwindled, I turn on one of the videos knowing I should be working. But why should I even bother? I'm not a murderer. I'm a 34-year-old woman who's been pregnant 4 times, 2 miscarriages, 2 abortions. Why is it so hard to believe? Why are they obsessed with making sure the entire city, no, the entire world, never comes into contact with me, making me undateable? Undateable. Interesting. Out of everything, it becomes undateable. She's making a mockery of true abuse survivors, they write. JD's actions discredit real victims everywhere. How dare she claim to be a victim when she's the real abuser? Every accusation, every hateful comment is a dagger to my soul. These people who claim to seek justice are the very ones perpetuate my suffering. They are relentless, and their hatred is a constant presence in my life. They have turned my struggle for survival into a spectacle, feeding off my pain and using to fuel their own agendas. As evening approaches, I try to find some peace. I order dinner, but the food tastes like ash in my mouth. Maybe it's bad takeout, man. I push the plate away, too anxious to eat. I check my phone one last time before bed, hoping for some supportive messages. There are a few, but the majority are filled with hate. They know how close I've come to breaking, how their own words have pushed me to the brink. They know, and they don't stop. They revel in my pain and the power they have to make me suffer. It's like they're feeding on my misery, growing stronger with every tear I shed, every moment of despair they caused. I shudder as I think about a more recent development. My private emails to the alleged father, 2,500 pages of texts with the abusive boyfriend who strangled me have become disseminated, dissected, and critiqued by strangers. Who would want all of their messages to be public? Would anyone be proud of every single text they've ever sent? Its intimate, painful, ugly detail of my life are now fodder for public consumption, used to shame and belittle me further. It's a violation that adds insult to injury, compounding the trauma of my past with the scrutiny of the present. I've tried not to cry all day, but I can't hold back the tears anymore. I wonder why they're so obsessed with ruining my public image entirely. I want to leave a legacy that impacts on the world. I want to leave it better than I found it. But this relentless harassment has made me so self-centered. Why would anyone I want to help care to associate with me, let alone speak to me, if this is who I appear to be when they look me up? I'm scared that no one will ever see the real me, the person who wants to help, to inspire, to leave positive impact. I know this piece will only serve as additional fodder for the Justice for Clayton cult, obsessed content creators who monetize videos, dissecting my words, mocking my pain. I thought we were supposed to read her every word. I thought that was the complaint. We were supposed to look at every piece of evidence and every statement. I mean, which is it? Are we supposed to read this? Are we not supposed to read this? I'm very confused here. They'll read my story, criticize every sentence, and use it to fuel their hateful narratives. But I need to speak. I need to reclaim my voice, even if only for a moment. Even that means giving them more ammunition to attack me with. I need to feel like my existence still matters. What is their end goal? Why do they get an adrenaline rush from trying to break someone who they know has been suicidal? Why do they feel like this is a good community to be part of? I lie there, staring into the darkness, feeling the weight of their hatred pressing down on me. The anxiety, fear, exhaustion, it crashes on me like a wave, threatening to pull me under. But I hold on because I have to. Because I won't let them win, at least not today at least. I can last another 24 hours. But I'm terrified that one day their words will final push that sends me over the edge. They won't stop until they've broken me completely, until there is nothing left. They won't stop until I'm dead. And then they link to a video for Black Mirror, Ending Explained, which has nothing at all to do with the case. It perpetuates the way that you're supposed to look at this. Fascinating. Now, there's more documentation to look at, but not tonight from that. I wanted to tie those pieces together. I thought that was, Now, one other thing I want to look at today. Kanye West. Now, Kanye West. Whew. Kanye West has been... give me a second here. I'm pulling up. I want his statement on termination of... I mean, it's wild to actually see. He's been accused of... Let me actually pull up the accusation and then... So, Kanye West sued. The harassment accusations. I mean, again, they are something else too. And he's been sued for quite a few different things. Give me 1 minute here. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief breakdown. We'll actually read the whole thing one day, not tonight. It's too long. But I'm going to give you an intro for this today. Okay? So, disturbing claims. On June 3rd, Kanye West is sued for sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and breach of contract by a former assistant. She says she was hired by West while he was managing his Yeezy fashion line, working on 3 of his tracks for his album Donda from 2021. She alleges that he would, let's say, pleasure himself during phone conversations and asked her if she could guess or hear what he was doing. In addition, he allegedly sent her many text messages. Some of the text messages, again, that came on. I had a few of those marked. Give me 1 minute. There was one series of text messages that, again, all of this allegations, of course, it's just wild to read in this. I'm not going to pull this up in front of you. I'm going to read this. This is one of the many that is alleged, okay? I'm going to omit certain words, okay? I'm going to use letters like D, and you know what I mean. Quote, "Is my D racist? It is. This effing racist D of mine. I'm going to beat this effing racist D for being effing racist. I'm going to stare at pictures of white women with black asses and beat the S out of my racist D, beating the S out of this big black C." That's one of many. That's one that really, when I read that, I was like, whoa, wow. I can't imagine, again, I can't imagine sending anything like that. Again, allegations, but I cannot imagine sending a statement like that to anyone who works for me. Anyone at all, or works with me, co-worker. What's really crazy about this is when you see like Kanye West and statements, you think, is that in the realm of possibilities? Yeah, I seem to remember his take on the Yahtzees and Jewish people. I seem to remember that very publicly happening and thinking, Kanye, no, No, what are you saying? No. Kanye, I firmly believe that Kanye, and this is not making any excuses for any behavior whatsoever, but I believe that Kanye needs less enablers, and he needs a medical or mental health provider in his life. A good one. A very good one. Kanye is arguably a musical genius. Arguably. I think that he has created some amazing works. But, wow. Some of the stuff, too. Wow. Now, in the lawsuit also, the message, photos, videos, which include content of West having sex. She began working for West while she was running an OnlyFans account where she claims to have made $1 million a year. He then asked her to quit OnlyFans and work solo, promising to pay her the same salary that she made on the app, to which she agreed. The harassment started after she fully left her previous role, she claims. She eventually climbed her way up to chief of staff while dealing with the alleged misconduct, earning $4 million. When she was fired in October 2022, she says he failed to pay out an agreed $3 million severance package. Now, there's a lot more. Again, it's a lot of accusations in that. Woo! And again, allegations. Like I said, when I think about the realm of possibilities, it's like, would Kanye say something like that? It is entirely possible. Kanye responded. Here's this statement. In response to these baseless allegations, this is his attorney, ye will be filing a lawsuit against Miss, I said Prescott, it's Pisciata? I don't know. We'll call her P, okay? Easy way to go. Who actively pursued him sexually to coerce employment and other material benefit, then engaged in blackmail and extortion when her advances were rejected. Now, does stuff like that happen? It can, yes. Ooh. John, what's up? Thanks for the 5. He went from Kanye's crazy when he was being anti-Semitic to free Palestine on college campuses when Israel counterattacked after 10-7. Kanye doesn't know what Kanye's doing. I firmly believe that Kanye needs mental health assistance. Again, I am not diagnosing him in any way or shape or form. I'm just saying that when you look at his behavior, the average person would say that there is something wrong with this man. Some of it is publicity stunt. Some of it, though, like I said, the paranoia and the way that, again, we talked about his statement about the Yahtzees. We talked about that when that happened. I'd have to. It was pretty shocking to see. It was. Let's say it was crazy enough that Elon Musk, who desperately needs celebrity, and desperately needs to be able to say that Twitter or X now is a free speech platform, ended up banning him. Now, you can agree or disagree with that, but wow. The stuff that he was saying was just something else. The banning probably, it would have helped him too, to be honest, because the man was hemorrhaging money because of his statements. But he decided to do interviews and to back those up. And you see, it's something when voices out there that you expect to be controversial are like, whoa, ye, what are you doing here, buddy? Some of the people that he was talking to, they were like, yeah, that's, I can't even get behind that, And you had people that wanted to agree with him. They wanted to back something controversial. They wanted that on a platform, but they were scared of what that brought with them, and with good reason. So, due to her termination as an assistant, Miss P stole this cell phone in an attempt to destroy phone records that would contradict her claims, all of which have been preserved. She was terminated for being unqualified, demanding unreasonable sums of money, including a $4 million annual salary, and numerous documented incidents. Wow. Of unhinged behavior. During her employment, Miss P offered Yee sex on his birthday, to which he declined. Sent him unsolicited nude pics, sexual narratives, and was seen twerking in the office during business hours. On one occasion, she boasted how the best moment of her life was when she was being, oh, this is gross. I'm just going to read this as it is. Excuse this. The best moment of her life was when she was being ejaculated on by a soccer player while simultaneously texting her boss. By the way, if you enjoy live streams, maybe you would consider backing the channel, because I'm going to say that some of those statements are probably going to get this one. The old, yeah, not safe, not suitable for. I don't know. I'm just going to guess on that one. It's well documented how she constantly used sexual coercion in an attempt to demand not only money, but material items, namely these Birkin bags, a Lamborghini, and an endless quest for plastic surgery. Upon having her advances rebuked, her blackmail demands have gone from $60 million last year to $50 million in last week's frivolous filing. Such behavior is entirely inconsistent with someone whose claims to have been harassed or experienced a hostile work environment. It is evident that her leverage her association with Yee, and its company, proximity to him to seek material gains, clout, and employment through inappropriate means. Her initial attempt at a lawsuit for unlawful termination gained no media traction, leading to her to fabricate headlines following threats of blackmail or coercion. Yee isn't the only celebrity targeted by her. Jay Leno is suing her for stealing his chin. Wait, what? What? What is going on with this? Give me 1 minute. What? I get it. It's like, is there really a Jay Leno? I mean, why would that? Yeah. Jokes about her Jay Leno chin. I wanted to see if there was anything. I get the joke. He's saying she's got a Jay Leno chin. I was just like, did he just slam her and that's it? I mean, did they actually come out in their statement and they were like, yeah, Jay Leno wants his chin back, by the way. I mean, damn. Damn. And yeah, apparently that's all that is. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that before I looked at that and was like, wow, did they just try to turn those claims into Yee's bringing the heat? Because I don't know what I think about that. I mean, again, we're probably gonna see this one play out, and we're gonna see who's telling the truth about it. We're gonna see a lot of, wow, I'm imagining. There's gonna be a lot, and ultimately, we see both sides of this equation. That's the problem with stuff like this. We do indeed see both sides of this equation. We do see very powerful men blackmailed. And we do see very powerful men doing some heinous stuff sometimes. I'm shocked, though, again, to see the end of that. Be like, yeah, Ye isn't the only celebrity targeted by her. Jay Leno is suing her for stealing his chin. I mean, my God. My God. I want to see her chin now. I actually want to see her. Does she have a Jay Leno chin? I'm just curious what she looks like. Give me 1 second there. There she is. I'm gonna say Jay Leno took a little heat in that one. You know, who's the real victim in that? Jay Leno. So, the woman he's talking about, by the way, like, look at these pictures together. Check this out here. Here's I have an account on Reddit. I think it's posted twice. There's the pictures there. And let's pull up a picture of Jay Leno for a second. Let's see, Jay Leno. I mean, wow. Like I said, Jay Leno really caught some heat in that one. Out of anybody. That's kind of cold-blooded. So here's old Jay Leno, by the way. This is off the IMDb database. You know, it's got his chin in a best case scenario. Ooh, I get the feeling that if you're coming out of the gate like that, this is going to be a very nasty set of documentation. I'm rolling down through. Whew. I'm curious, again. I'm curious how long this will play out. Oh, but that one, again, I think the documentation on this one will be, whew, it's going to be, there's going to be some nasty claims in it. Pretty awful stuff. So, but that's an introduction to that one. There's also another lawsuit we're not going to cover today, but there's one coming out of Spice Girl world. This one is actually, it's kind of fascinating. I don't know a lot about Spice Girls, admittedly, but there is a $5 million defamation lawsuit, which we do have the documentation for. The only downside to the document, I mean, and it comes with text messages and everything, which I think we will live stream fairly soon. Give me a second. I'm pulling this up real quick too. The only thing about the litigation with this is the document that it's filed with is crazy. I mean, it's a 124-page filing. Now, a lot of that is text messages and more. But the initial filing is 124 pages. I mean, like I said, it's crazy. But Mel B, she's being sued by her ex-husband because apparently she wrote a book. She made some allegations about him, not downplaying any of that, saying anything on it, but he's like, yeah, I'm suing for that because it did damage. It did real damage. 124 pages. Again, we're not going to hit that one tonight. We'll hit that on another day. But anyway, I was going to hit the joke list stuff, man, but it's been like 2 hours. Let me see. Let me look. You see how long they are. I may do those tomorrow. I know I put them in the thing, but maybe I'll lead with that tomorrow. How's that sound? I know, I know I put that in the thumbnail and the title, but my lord, I think that's something to lead with instead of to follow with, because my God, like some of that stuff at the end, Jay Leno chin and all of that. All right. Anyway, I think I'm going to end here. It's been an interesting read through tonight. I appreciate you folks too. Yeah, I think I'm going to end here. Let me see. Yep, I think that hits everything. All right. Well, I appreciate you. I'm going to go watch a movie with the kids.